podcast of the DMV. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about we and God we trust. Sir Rod and Lady Z. PTP.
Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people.
Good evening, welcome. It is the People to People podcast, the People Talk Show podcast. I'm your host, Rodney Grimes. It is February 17th and Black History Month, February. It's Motivation Monday. So when we come on the podcast, we try to motivate you. We try to talk about things going to change your life. We talk about things that you can be able to relate to. We talk about what's real. We try not to fabricate things. I was in the presence of some gentlemen at a men's conference sit down a couple of weeks ago with Pastor Nesto. And one of the guys said he had a podcast, and one of the things he didn't want to do is he didn't want to put on nothing that he couldn't. He didn't want to talk about anything that he couldn't prove or was facts or whatever. And me, I like to talk about any and everything. I like to talk about things that's common sense. I'm not a philosopher, but I can tell you that, I have great conversations with other individuals. I do get into my history and also just pay attention to things that are just naturally out in front of us. And the topic today is what's different now, 2025, than or when it was 1865. 1865, back then. Do you know exactly what happened in 1865? Basically, if you don't, that's supposed to have been when slavery was abolished. And I just all day to day, just in my time alone, I was just thinking, I was like, man, it's really, really crazy what's going on in this day and time in 2025. And I was wondering how many people really understand how we have transitioned from one stage to another, and what's the level of the transitioning. And how far have we really come? And so when I was thinking by myself, I was really, I started to feel a little funny because I was just thinking about, how we operate in this country, the things that's going on right now. Do you know that we say we're free? And okay, so in 1865, people were still back there. They was getting beat, hung, and all these things. Now, one of the things that people got to understand, this was a process of history, and let's deal with the history and the true facts of what it is, and how much difference is it now, and then where we are right now. Because if you think about it, throughout the years from 1865 to 2025, a lot of the things that were going on back then are still going on right now. They're just going on different levels. They just, but it's still same thing. We say we free. Are we? Let me tell you something. Technically, you will think you are, but if you do something publicly and it's not approved or what certain individuals want you to say, you will be dealt with. So you're not really free. I remember many years ago when we was talking about, we was having a conversation, and we said, man, this is the best country in the world. This is the best country in the world. Man, in America, you could do anything. You could do anything in America. Let me tell you something. That's not true. I mean, when I say that, I'm not saying this is not I'm just saying this. So you'll see sometimes I kind of think about how I want to put things out. Would I say this is the best country in the world when you would get pulled over because of the color of your skin, or just a couple of years ago, a guy got choked out to death George Floyd in New York. He got choked out. We had a young man shot because he wore a hoodie walking through a neighborhood. We got individuals getting shot at, a female getting shot in her apartment um, uh, because she was just talking back to an officer who happened to have been of a different ethnic background. And we talk about we're free, we're free. Let me tell you, we have to really think about that. Are we really free? And how much things have changed since then? Where are we right now? For me as a black man in America, I stand a lot to lose when I don't say anything, and I can gain a lot when I speak my mind for those who are coming up. And I want to say this: a lot of people who ignore the past and don't go back to the past and check the history and pay attention to what happened in history will not be able to really deal with the traumas that comes in this day and time in 2025. They will really be caught off guard because they'll be thinking this is something that's just crazy happening when it's been happening all the time. But where are we? Do we point fingers? I honestly, I don't say point fingers. I say do something about it. Each one of us get in a position to do something about it. Make a change. Make changes right now. You individuals, regardless of whatever your ethnic background is, make changes. It's important for us to do that. Many of us can look back and we can think about things, and if we look at the history of it, we'll realize that what was done then is still being done now, but it's just did in a different fashion. Like, uh, you know, when a black man break the law, he's looked upon totally different if he commit the same crime as anybody else. And the funniest thing is that we sit back and we ignore these things until some serious hammer come down on us and start to beat us in the head and say, look at where you are and what you're going up against. And this is the one thing that really gets me. For anyone who's not individual of color, you would be like, man, I get tired of hearing that. I get tired of hearing people talking about that. Yes, you will. You get tired of it. Guess what? Because it ain't you. It's not you going through it. It's not you having to worry about being looked upon in so many different ways when you don't have to really live like that. You may, if you really paid attention to it. I saw a young lady one time. She asked a whole room of white people, said, "Would you trade places with black people to be in their position?" Not one white person raised their hand because they wouldn't. They wouldn't raise. They wouldn't want to be in our position. It's not to say that those that didn't raise their hand are not good people. It's just that they know the truth. But the sad part of this is that when you want to point fingers, where do you point them? Do you point them at white people? Come on, think about it. Us as black people in this country, do we point it at other people outside of our own race? How about we really, really dealing with the facts and looking at where we are, where we came from, and where we are today, and what are we doing about it? How are we going about changing? How are we making a difference in our own houses, in our own communities, and things of that nature? We have no problem when somebody hit us with the hammer on the head. Everybody want to jump up and say, "Hey, ouch! Don't hit me! Don't hit me! Don't hit me!" But the hammer is there the whole time, and a lot of times we don't respond because the hammer just don't come down blatantly and hit us. But we see the hammer, but we act like it's okay, and just live life every day the same way, when we should be making a difference within ourselves. Now, do I sound like a racist? I hope not. Do I sound like a man who's desperately crying out to everyone to say, hey, Let's make a change. Let's be responsible for our actions and what's going on in our homes, what's going on in our communities, and really stop pointing the finger. We can deal. We can deal with the truth. I watched a Western today, and it was really funny because it was a white man who was kidnapped by the Apaches that he grew up with them, and so they called him Apache something, and he was wanted for killing 4 white men. And check this story out. I'm gonna show you how this worked. This is why it got on my mind real heavy. So what happened in the story, he was traveling or whatever, because I kind of came in the middle of it, and he ran into this wagon where with some women and 2 white guys, white men, young men, and a little white boy. And he helped them because the Apaches was trying to kill them. And this white man who was raised by the Apaches, he knew how the Apaches operate and everything. And they eventually found out, they knew he was wanted by the cavalry. Well, long story short, as the story went on, after he saved those people's lives, he saved their lives, and he was being judged, and the gentleman in front of him who was passing the judgment was a white male in a uniform, and he was saying, "You killed 4 white men, and you had no right to do that." And he said, who are you to judge me based on the condition? He said, ask him, had you ever killed anybody before? And the army man said, yeah, I killed somebody who was in war. He said, but you killed somebody before. He said, and you felt you had a reason or whatever the case may be. He said, well, let me explain why I killed these 4 men. He said, because I was married to an Apache woman, and I had 2 or 3 kids. They came up when I was down by the river, and they raped my wife and beat her to death and stomped my kids to death. And he said, by the time I got there, it was too late. They had already did the damage to them. And then they shot me and left me for dead. But I didn't die because of what he had, the rage in him. He said, and he remembered those 4 white men. He said, and he after he got himself together, he went out and he killed them. He killed them for what they did to his family. And the guy who was judging him still wanted to hang him. He was trying to make it different. And he asked him, what difference is it? I'm asking you, what difference is it? When somebody commits a crime, at what level? How is it that certain people commit crimes and then don't get punished and certain people do? In a country where you're supposed to be free. Is that really true? We know by facts that a lot of things is going wrong. And we have to start with ourselves, standing up and we have to stand together. And I'm talking about everybody. How did the movie end? Well, they ended up not hanging him. He ended up marrying this white woman that he met. He fell in love with her. She fell in love with him. He helped them get through this little area with the Apaches and everything. And the little boy, little white boy, he was sticking up for the man, and he wanted this man to be his dad. And what did I get out of it? It was just the part where that certain people think that they sit in a seat and have the right to judge other people, and that's not true. Only God is the one that judges us. And then when we say, really, who else have that right to judge you? You yourself. When you know you done wrong, or you done right. It's you and God, not another person for real. Because they may not know what you're really thinking about or why you do what you do. I hope y'all follow me. This is what's different from 1865 to 2025. What's different? Let me tell you something. Not long ago, it's a couple of years ago, man, the guy got choked out right there in the street. We just had not long ago, we saw a whole group of people run up into the Capitol and I mean disrespected publicly. And now they're out walking around. If there had been black Americans to do that, we know that it had been a whole bunch of dead people laying on those steps up there. Are we free? Are we? What is going on with us? And when are we going to make changes and do something about it? And it's not about going out here and committing crimes or fighting and killing and stuff like that. I'm talking about changing within your hearts how you deal with one another and collectively coming together to make a statement to say, hey, it's time for people just to be people. We got certain individuals who think and I can put it just like this. I hope ain't no children listen, but they think they shit don't stink. But yours stink just like mine's. Whether you're black, white, Asian, or Puerto Rican, it doesn't matter. Believe it or not, the only problem is when you're in there by yourself, you can tolerate the smell. But somebody, it doesn't matter what ethnic background they come in, when they walk in and you in there on that toilet, guess what? They be frowning and everything because yours shit stinks too. Excuse my language. What I'm saying is we all got to come together and we got to make a difference. We got to put ourselves in positions where we are taking responsibility for our actions to make sure that we hold other people accountable for their actions as well. Start right at home with your children. Tell them about the history. Tell them about what was going on and let them know. Not all of us were slaves. Not all of us was running around here dumb and ignorant either. A lot of us were true queens and kings and inventors. And that's on all sides. What's so scary right now is that how do I look at another kid, man, and really be able to embrace him and tell him that he got a bright future when things are going so crazy right now? That we got just 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 people want to try to control thousands and thousands of people and tell them what they should do, where they got to live, and all this type of stuff. When are we going to really, really come together and make a difference? We have to put ourselves in position so that what we do as a people, we look at our children, tell them, let them see the truth. You know, one of the things I don't watch a lot of slavery movies. I don't. My wife, she laughs at me, but you put one on, I'm not interested in seeing no whole bunch of black people walking around in no chains. I'm sorry. Now, that doesn't do nothing for me. Now, did my ancestors go through that? My grandfather, John Shepherd, an amazing man, was born in 1900, okay? And I used to sit on his porch and listen to some of the stories he told me. And I knew that he had this pain and hatred in him for white men because of the way that they treated his father and his uncles and his elders. But as I came up, let me tell you a story that I told a while back. When we're talking about race and freedom and all this, you know, we want to point the finger at everybody. Sometimes when you point the finger, believe it or not, the other finger's coming back at you. But let me show you something. I was coming up as a young man in a neighborhood where it was 99.9% black. I think we had one white lady that lived on our block when I was growing up. I think her name was Miss Frida or something like that. I forget what her name was, but she lived right in this little on the in house across the street from me. And I remember, to me, I didn't even never know she was white for real. I didn't. All she was just a nice old lady to me. And everybody loved her. She didn't like us playing in her yard. She didn't like us messing on her grass and stuff like that. But it didn't mean much to us. But this was so funny, this story I want to share with you. During a time when I was being mentally, physically abused by basically my own father, and that's a whole nother story, out in the street running crazy and wild, it was a white man named Russ. I don't know Russ' last name, but the white man, I was trying to rob him. Me and 2 of my friends trying to rob his store. It was a pet store. And I told this story before, but I want to show you just how we are and get back to the point where I'm talking about what's different from then and now, from 1865 to 2025. This white man, Russ, grabbed me by my collar as we went in the store to rob him. He was like chased us out of there. We was too young and we didn't know what we was doing. And he grabbed me by my collar and he told me, he said, "You know better. You shouldn't be doing this. Work for what you want." And long story short, he told me, he said, "I want you to come back down here tomorrow because I want to talk to you." And God is amazing because God put it in my spirit for me to go back and see him. And what did he do for me? He changed my life. He taught me about fish. He taught me about animals. He taught me, he gave me a job in the pet store, so I didn't have to steal. I could work for it. And he gave me an opportunity. And then when he found out that I was being abused at home, he really took me on his wing. I remember one time he bought me these bell-bottom pants. They was purple and white. Oh man, did all my friends, they was joning on me so hard. But he bought me these pants and this nice shirt. And this was in Old Town Alexandria, and they had a movie theater on King Street. And a lot of black people didn't go in there. A lot of white people did. But guess what? Him and this lady named Pat, Pat worked there, and her husband was the manager of the theater. I was the only little black kid could run up in there free. I could watch any movie when I wanted, and if I wanted to, I could bring my friends in there. Now, reason why I'm sharing that story with you is because I'm talking about what goes on with us in this country with different people from different backgrounds, and not everybody is bad. But it's on the individuals and how they conduct themselves. See, by Russ, what he did for me, he helped me. He helped me, a white man. I would love to see him today. I would hug him and embrace him. I would feed him. I would clothe him. I would walk proudly with him because of what he did for me. And check this out. The thing that I tell you where we take responsibility, that was the one thing he made me do, is take responsibilities for my actions. So he got me where I worked. And I've been working ever since. Now, he's not the only one that put the work ethics in me. That did come out of my household for real. But I'm just saying, and my grandfather as well. But this white man did that for me. So how can I hate white people? I can hate individuals, and I can hold certain individuals responsible. And what I can do is look and see what I can do that's different. What I'm saying is all of us have to be responsible for our actions. We have to be responsible and look at what we are. And let me tell you something. If you think you're free, you're not as free as you think you are. I'm trying to tell you. We looking at, I'm going to go back and we think about how many people have committed crimes and stuff. And let's talk about Bill Cosby a little bit. Bill Cosby committed a crime. He gave some females some drugs to supposedly have sex with them. Let me tell you something. Man, back in the day, they wasn't even giving them drugs. They was just raping them. Outright. They was, and we had some do that even during the time just before he got crucified and sent to jail. We got to look at what goes on around us and deal with the truth. And look at the individuals who are setting the tone for things and who's accepting it, who's playing a part of it. You know, if I was mad at Bill, the only reason why I'd be mad at him, I would say, Bill, why the hell did you have to give them any drugs, dude, when you had all that money? Because every last one of them females that came to your place by themselves, and they knew damn well wasn't nobody else there, they had in the back of their mind that you might try to hit on them. That's common damn sense. We talk about different individuals. We look at all the individuals who've been traumatized in the black community, in a black way, in the black lives. We talking Mike Tyson's. We talking about R. Kelly. We talking about P. Diddy. We talking about even Oprah, when Oprah went down to Texas and went down there to buy some cows or something down there. I forget exactly what it was, but let me tell you something. They let her know that, yo, you're not one of us. And got away with the disrespect. But what I had to, I remember something Oprah said. She said, when they did that to her, she did not let that stop her from moving forth. She changed and made changes for herself within her rim so that she'll be able to do things that's now some of them people, I'm sure she got way more money than they do. We as individuals have to look at the facts. You say you're free? Well, let me tell you something. You're not really free. No, you're not. The only way you're going to be free is in your mind and spirit and with your relationship with God. That's it. But when you talk about the laws and the things that go on right now in this country, we're not free. Let me tell you, they are putting us in situations. And when I say, you know, my slogan, people to people, power to power, positive people, people to people, me, you, and them being whoever they are, them being they, work with me. They are putting us in a very awkward position. And we say power to power, the power you possess, the power I possess, the power they possess. You know who they are. They want us to really believe that we don't have power, but we do. They want us to believe that we're free, but we're really not. They want us to believe that they're right and we're wrong, but that's not true when we go to reality. Let me go here just to say good evening to everyone just tuning in, and thanks for passing this good word, my brother. I'm just excited. I am excited to sometimes speak about what I had to deal with. In my mind, my mind be running and running and running. But what I'm saying is, for us, if you're free for real, be free within your heart. Be free with your giving of kindness and understanding and dealing with truth. That's everybody. Free your mind from the lies, from the tricks. We look at everybody that's being crucified. They do it publicly. They put it on TV. They tell you all this stuff. Hey, let me tell y'all something. I'm not saying that Diddy didn't do anything, but how many of us out here literally can say we know he did it? And how long was he doing it? And let me tell you something else. We want to talk about how powerful certain individuals are. You know why a lot of that stuff died down? Because a lot of the people that was committing some of those acts, they got documentation of it. And it died down because they didn't want the truth to come out. They didn't want everybody to see really what was going on. A lot of us think we're free. No. You have the will to try to do what's right. But let me tell you something. It's just the way that it is in this day and time, 2025, man. We still not free. Not really. And it's sad to say. How do all the drugs get in one area? How is it that we got kids out here killing kids, man? Let me tell you something. They can find a box that fell in the river or the Potomac River or the ocean when the plane crashed. They can find a box, but they can't find out who killed the little boy Tommy or the little girl Tammy on the block in Washington, D.C., in Virginia, in Maryland. We free. Let me tell you something. We have individuals that are dictators and in positions that say, yo, y'all gonna do what we tell you when we tell you, and if you don't, we'll punish you. That's what they did to Bill. That's what they did to Diddy. They did to Mike Tyson. All of them. I mean, I'm looking at the realization. A lot of people might say, Rodney, man, you talking smack. But let me say this. It's no way that no woman could go to a man's room at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking that he want to play checkers. I don't care who he is. There's no way that a one or two or three or four women going to go to a man's house and then wake up and say, hey, oh, I don't know what happened. And then don't go tell nobody. And wait 10, 20, 30, 40 years later and say, oh, I was a victim. We know that right now the reason why things are quiet because we got people that are ducking and dodging from what was seen on some of them tapes that they confiscated with Diddy, using just common sense. And when we look around and look at us, ask, are you really free? When you get pulled over, and I tell you, I have many, many white friends who we have conversations and they be like, man, it's sad. But they don't really like talking about it because they feel like they wasn't a part of it. So they don't want to carry that burden. That's why right now they want to get rid of our history. They don't want to talk about what they did to us back then. They don't want us to remember. They don't want us to be able to say you did us dirty. They don't want us to say that, you're still doing us dirty. No, they want us to shut up and be quiet. And you tell me, is that us being free? When if you say too much, they'll come and get you. I myself, I put myself in a position, and I'm gonna tell you something. I think about my grandchildren, and if my grandchildren get to watch me later on, down the line, they'll be able to say, my granddaddy, at least he spoke his mind. At least he tried to do something. At least he brought it to the forefront. We have to make a change. What's different from 1865 when they said there were no more slaves? What happened from all that time? 1960, I was born. They were still hanging people. They were still lynching people. They were still dragging people. They were still raping people. We got not too long ago, some boy went down in Mississippi. He was driving a truck. They found him hanging on a tree and swear to God that he went and hung himself. Nobody want to find out who did it. They know who did it. They know. But we're free. A lot of us better wake up. We better wake up, and we better really get ready to find out where that real freedom is going to come from. Because it sure is not going to be given to you. Sometimes you just got to walk out there and demand it. Sometimes you got to just pull your pants up and do something about it yourself. With your children, within yourselves, within your marriages, the churches, the schools. I have a very, very good friend of mine, Demetria. She gives these classes, and she's empowering these young kids. And I know it's open to white kids, but there's black kids in there. But if some white kids want to come, you can get in touch with me. I can tell you where to go. She takes the time to educate them on how to maneuver in this day and time with money, filling out applications, how to conduct themselves, how to speak, how to, just be conscious of their environments and how they're going to be moving in life. To me, that's a form of freedom that she's giving them something to help them in the future so that as they move forth, they will be able to make their life better. Not all the time does it require chains on your hands to stop you from moving. Sometimes the chains be in your mind. Sometimes the change is in the chains. I'm talking about physical chains that they're blocking your emotions in your mind. And we got to just ask ourselves, how much Is it that much difference from then and now? Really? Because I can dress up. Yeah, back there, a lot of the slaves didn't have nice clothes and stuff. But then let me tell you something. In 1865, I'm sure when they started to get out, supposedly have an opportunity to have equal opportunities and things of that nature, they started. You saw what was happening in the 60s and then the 70s. Man, black folks was dressing, wearing afros. They was looking good. They was looking good. Change was coming, but still it was those borderlines that you couldn't cross, or these places where they still was having riots, and they was still had a group of one individuals jumping on another individual and beating them down like Rodney King, done publicly. I'm trying to tell you that when we talk about where we are and how things have been going and where we are today, I get on here. I know people talk about, Rodney, man, when you gonna come on with the gas and this and that? I'm just right now. I'm freeing my mind. I'm freeing my heart. I'm freeing my thoughts. I'm freeing myself. I'm freeing myself from the traumas and things that have been weighing me down, because I believe I am my brothers and sisters keeper. And so I get on here and I do this. I share my emotions, and I've talked to many, many people, and they get on there. I'm gonna tell you something. Find out, are you free in your mind? Find out, are you free in your heart? Because if you think you just free to go out here and do whatever you want to do, it ain't like that for real. Until the majority of us come together, hold people accountable when they do wrong, not allowing them to dictate to us and say you're a bum when really you're a prince. For them to say you're not worthy when you are definitely worthy to be praised. We have to come together, and we have to do this collectively, but also we have to do it individually as well. When I talk to my kids, my sons who are grown men, I always talk to them about stepping up and handling their business. We don't talk about robbing and stealing. We're talking about starting our own business. We talk about being good fathers and sons and brothers. We talk about being good men. We set ourselves free among us. But we also know when we be out in the open, hey, freedom is only but so far. That's because of the way society is right now. A lot of people are not dealing with the truth. Now, we have a lot of people that are. We got it on all sides. And I send peace and blessings to them and say thank you. But go back and just do some reading about 1865, what took place. When they said that was when the slavery supposed to have been abolished in the United States. And then just think about all the things, the tragic things that took place all the way to 2025. Tell me, how much have things changed? We got certain people can attempt to rape people, fondle people, or whatever, women, and get away with it. We can kill people and break into places of the government and storm through offices and get away with it. And then we got some people that will get beat down just driving their car, and they got a suspended license that they didn't know, or a joint of marijuana in their car, or maybe not anything, and get beat down or locked up or accused of things that they did not do just because of the color of their skin. We have to make changes. We have to really be aware. Black History Month Black history is every day. It ain't just February, but that's what they want to give it. Okay, that's fine. I love hearing about the things that black people done for this country, the things we invented: peanut butter, the refrigerator, the red light, the doorknob. We can go on and on. The circulation of central air in the house. Come on. Oh, check that out. We got individuals who've done some major, major things that were people of color. And we talk about the history and that we want to deal with the truth. They say the truth will set you free. Well, let me say this. It'll set you free at some point, because what happens is if they don't want to accept it, they being whoever they are, people to people, me, you, and them being whoever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right? Hey, it is what it is. And they would dictate to us. All I'm saying is we got some things that's coming up, and we got to come together collectively and make some changes. I know that, can you pull that information up? I want to talk about what we're going to do. Is they're going to be boycotting? It's going to be on February 28th. We're making a stand. Everybody knows it's going around. I'm just going to say it publicly. Let me read some of what's been. It's scheduled protests, nationwide protests. Okay, on February 28th, it's the economy blackout. No spending for 24 hours. Everybody know, just check into this information. On March 14th, there's no work for 24 hours. So today it was President's Day. They had protests in 50 states, which was today, March 7th to the 14th. They asked not to buy anything for 1 week from Amazon. They don't want you to buy. And I'm not telling y'all, I'm just sharing this information was shared to me. And we are trying to get people to understand it's not about wanting to hurt nobody. We just want to be free for real. We want to be free and treated with respect and equally. We want to have the rights when we put people in office for us to feel comfortable to say, hey, this is my congressman. This is my governor. This is my mayor. We want to have people that really care about the people, because dictating and trying to, have all the rich people doing everything and have everybody else struggling. Hey, that's not good. That ain't gonna work either. God ain't gonna have it. Now, I might have been a little all over the place because I'm just in my feelings right now as a black man in this country. And I want to feel free. But many times I don't, because I can't really even speak my mind, because people say, well, because you said this, that we're not going to let you talk on this platform or that platform, or we're not going to do this. Because I'm going to speak the truth. You should be able to say whatever you want. I always say this: put your arm out, and long as don't nobody come in within your arm length of your body, that's your space. You should be able to say whatever you want out your mouth. Now, you got to be careful when it comes out, because if you sitting up there disrespecting a man's wife or something, he gonna come in your space. But I'm talking about your natural born feelings. Are you free? Really? Are you? How many of us really are? And where did the freedom start? Because some of us are slaves in our own house, in our own homes, with each other. dictating, holding each other down, trying to make sure that another one don't get more than the other, not trying to support businesses in your neighborhood. We're talking about people just outright blatantly disrespecting you, and you put yourself in a position. I'll give you a prime example. We got carjacked May 8th over 7 blocks away from the Capitol last year. And let me tell you something. This black young male put a gun up to me, put it in my stomach, threatened to, he literally was there, threatened to kill and shoot me, my wife, and my cousin. Do you think that we heard anything about it? The only thing we got was a news reporter running over here like some bat out of hell because he wanted to get a story to put on there. But you think that they was really, really concerned about catching the guy or how it affected us? You know why? Because the color of our skin. No, they didn't. I'm telling you. And it was going on and on and on. The only time that it started changing is when certain individuals wanted to get some recognition. We're still talking about saying we're free. We're not free. It's dictatorships in all areas, and they dictate how they want to treat us. We didn't get treated properly. They didn't come to us to make sure that we got any kind of therapy or help. We still traumatized. I don't even go to certain places with my car. I don't go to car washes where, I when I'm at a stoplight, I make sure my door is locked. My wife won't be in the car with the car running. None of that. And we say we're free. No, we're prisoners within ourselves and our minds because of the way society is doing things, allowing certain things to happen in certain communities. They won't go after them young boys, and find them that's out there killing them other little kids. They said, hey, let them kill themselves until they get tired of it, and let them go to certain neighborhoods and start killing, and then you'll find a different reaction. But we say we're free. No, you're not. Everything is by dictatorship. We're not free. We're supposed to be. But are we really? So, I'm hoping that I don't offend anybody when I come and speak my truth. But I hope that I open your mind up to think about what's going on around you, what you're doing to make difference in your community. How are you making changes in your life? Are you really free to do what you want when you want it? And I ain't talking about breaking no law. I'm just talking about sometimes you just want to say what you want to say. But let me tell you something. Certain people can get certain things, they can do it and get away with it. I seen some stuff in the last couple of weeks, man, just blowing my mind. Individuals in positions where they talking and don't even supposed to be in that, allowed in that area. Come on now. And why I won't say it? Because I ain't free. I'm telling you what I know. If I want to try to keep myself moving in the direction where I'm going, I got to be cautious of what I say. Now, if I didn't have my wife and my children and my grandchildren, I'd just say what I say because, to God be the glory, and whatever happens, happens. But I got to be responsible for other people too. So I try to kind of follow the rules and regulations that's set down as dictators tell me. Oh, you can't say this. Oh, you can't talk about that. You can't say this. We'll shut you down. We'll cut you off. I went to a place, and I gotta say this. We talk about being free and being treated equally and things of that nature. I went out to the farmers market, which is was out there in Upper Marlboro. And anybody that's hearing this, I want you to check this out. When you go in there, I want you to look and count how many white people you see in there. That's not working. That's buying something. I want you to count them. I dare you. See how many in there. And I want you to see when you hand the money to the individuals who's selling you this stuff there and see how they give you your change back. Half of them won't even touch you. Half of them won't even look at you. They won't. I experienced that 3 times, and it made me feel so. It made me feel so used and abused. It made me feel like I was being taken advantage of. Like touching me, it was going to give them a germ or something. One of the little white girls, man, she held the quarter like this to drop it in my hand. And I stood there and watched her, and I watched her do it to several other people. I said, oh my God. And we talk about we free. We talk about equal rights and equal opportunities and everybody's getting treated the same. No, it's not. We better wake up. We better figure it out. And we better start talking to our kids. Get them in them books, get them educated, let them know about who their ancestors are, their history. Let them know the truth. Freedom comes in the mind and in the heart. Because if you wait on it by society and dictatorship, you'll never get it. Because it's never been given to us. Not in 1865 and even in 2025. So again, I just send peace and blessings to you. Somebody may not like what I had to say, and I don't mean no disrespect. I'm just speaking truth. I'm speaking the truth. Look around. And it's not all black people that's suffering. White people suffering too. Some of them are realizing that they're not free either. That's crazy. Yeah. A lot of people that was running around here talking about, oh, we different. How different are you now? You ain't that much different. I'm trying to tell you, you're not. Because you're saying that you're not free either. You're not free to come and go as you please. You're not free to walk in and work and apply for a job because you just want to change your life and live comfortable. Just because of your ethnic background. And you call that being free? I don't know. At one time, I was so proud to be an American. I was so proud. I don't know how to feel today. I really don't. And I can say this, would I fight for this country? Yeah, because this is where my grandfather died and my father. And my great-grandfather. So would I fight for that? Would I die for that? Yes, I would. But could I actually say that they were free men back then? And can I say I'm a free man right now? People to people, power to power, positive thinking people.